What should the Bears do at quarterback as we look ahead now to the combine ahead and then the draft?
I think what they probably should do is what they probably will do, which is trade Justin Fields and go and get Caleb Williams. I think Justin's a good quarterback. I think you have to do things to accommodate him. And I think a lot of it is how fast he sees it, and that means you have to play a little bit of a different brand of football to accommodate him. He's an incredible athlete. He is really, really smart. He's a good leader. He's tough. He's got all these traits. He's got a big arm. He does have natural accuracy. But that question that was there when he was coming out is lingering now. It's like, how fast does he see the field? And that's why you see him holding the ball in a lot of these situations. And so I think there's a limit with how far he can go, and there are accommodations you have to make for him. I think Caleb Williams, if he is what a lot of people think he is, you have to take him. I've heard scouts, say to me like that Trevor Lawrence, Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, John Elway tier of prospect doesn't mean he's going to become that, but that tier of prospect, Caleb Williams is on that tier. And, I've talked to Cliff Kingsbury about it, who's coached both guys, who said the similarities between the two are eerie. There's a lot that ties the two together. Now you do have to investigate all this stuff about who he is as a person and his personality and all of that different stuff. But everybody in the USC program seems to love him. And you get to hit reset on that rookie contract for your quarterback clock. You add all of it up, and this seems like it's a relatively academic decision for the Bears. You go and you see what you can get for Justin Fields. You hold on to the number one pick, and then at the end of April, you draft Caleb Williams there.
Right. We know that Tomlin likes Fields. We know that already. But what do you think are the landing spots for him?
I think the landing spots for him are probably sitting there right in the middle of the first round, right? So it's the teams that need quarterbacks that might not quite be in the range to get one and maybe don't have the appetite for giving up the amount of draft picks it would take to go and get one in the top three. I think right now the Bears, the Commanders, and the Patriots can get a ransom for those three picks. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels. Caleb 1, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, in whatever order you have them. I think after that, from most of the people I've talked to, depending on what you think of J.J. McCarthy, there's a drop-off. And so I think for Justin, his sweet spot probably be one of those teams that are picking right there in the middle of the first round. And that might be just out of range for going and getting one. So I think Vegas is a little bit higher than that, but they're sort of in that range. I don't know if they go and get him because they have his old offensive coordinator from Chicago, Luke Getsy. Atlanta's one that, at least on paper, makes some sense naturally. I do like Pittsburgh. Arthur Smith's very creative in what he does with his quarterbacks. And I think the way you look at it, Suzy, it's sort of like Baker Mayfield last year, right? Like Baker Mayfield, in a certain way, washed out of Cleveland because of circumstances. I think Justin Fields is washing out of Chicago because of circumstances, because his team wasn't the worst team in the league, but because of a trade happens to have the number one overall pick. And at least for next year, he's relatively cheap. So I think he could be a good get for somebody sitting there in the middle of the first round. I'm not saying they're going to trade their first rounder for him. I think he probably takes some combination of a day 2 pick and a day 3 pick. But those teams that are sitting in the middle of the first round that might not be in position to get one of the top 3 could go and get him.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.